When I saw the topic of this particular project, I thought, how appropriate for someone like me with people like you, because I know this group can be inspired and uplifted, because this group has uplifted me many, many times, both through laughter and jokes and sometimes sadness. Today I'm asking a question that I think is kind of a universal question, no matter what your faith might be. Does God answer prayer? And I'd like to share with you certain events in my own life that have given me a particular conclusion and answer to that question. I love alliteration, so tonight I'm going to speak a little bit about my dad. I'm going to speak a little bit about a little girl that you've heard me talk about before, Daisy. And I'm going to speak about death. Those are my 3 Ds for the evening. Many of you know that I'm a guitarist and a songwriter, and I love to play guitar and I love to sing. Many years ago, it was many years ago, when I was in college, that's when my songwriting really picked up. I began to play much more guitar and write more songs. And I recall one particular summer traveling back to college with my parents. And we were camping. And something happened, I don't know what, to my guitar, and it got a nick in it. Any of you that have instruments, if you find a dent in your horn or trumpet or a nick in your guitar, it wasn't this guitar, it's very traumatic. And I remember just being so upset and expressing how frustrated I was. What happened to my guitar? I can't believe it's got this nick in it. Well, sometime after that, I received a letter from my dad. That's my first D. And in that letter, he wrote something to this effect. Jerry, I really believe that you're putting your guitar in front of God, and your guitar has become your God. Well, that really hurt me deeply, because that was never my intention. But that's what he said in that letter. He never said a thing during that particular event when I was all upset about the nick in my guitar. And I carried that hurt for probably 30 years, deep down inside. That criticism that my guitar was my God. Of course, I knew that wasn't true. Well, during a particular time in my parents' life, actually their 50th wedding anniversary, my wife had asked them to write a journal about their lives. And it wasn't too long after that, reading through those journals, which were many, many pages, and my dad was very precise about printing it out, and here's a particular page from his journal. And when I read this, in fact, I just reread it the other day, and it gave me some insight into my dad. The question was to talk a little bit about your children and their personal life. And he said, Jerry showed outstanding initiative in his planned move from Tucson, Arizona to Plano, attending night classes at computer school, and so on, and he was really praising my abilities. But he also said early on, Jerry began to show remarkable talent as a guitarist and composer of original, mostly scriptural ballads, which he continues to perform in their church. His musical career had begun on the clarinet, but he soon began to teach himself guitar, later getting some professional help. It was not long before his composing talent began to develop. Now, why do I bring that up? in this particular talk about does God answer prayer. 30 years later, I do believe God healed that hurt in me. I didn't really remember praying about it, but God knew there was a hurt that needed to be healed. And through that message, and even since my dad is gone, I can read that again and feel that God did answer maybe a prayer I didn't even pray. Now I'd like to tell you about a little girl I met a few years ago in Belize on a trip with my church. And her name was Daisy. And one day she appeared peeking through the window of the building that we were painting. She was a little girl about 6 years old. And she smiled. She came and talked to us in her broken English and said, "I can't go to school because I don't have anyone to sponsor me." And she, in her poor English, said, "I don't got no shoes." I said, "Don't worry, Daisy. You won't have to worry about that anymore." Now, was Daisy praying at that particular time? I doubt it. Of course, we as a church had prayed that we could help the kids out. But I believe there was a prayer there. It may not have been expressed explicitly, "Dear God, send me a sponsor so I can go to school." But guess what? God answered a prayer.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Of course, I'm sponsoring Daisy and her sister right now. So yes, for Daisy, I believe God answered prayer. He helps the helpless, even when they don't know they are praying or they need help. About 10 years ago, my brother, my oldest brother, became extremely ill with heart disease. And I recall my very religious family praying fervently that he would be healed. I remember my mom's sisters, my aunts, saying, they just know God's going to heal my brother Rich. And he'll come through this heart surgery successfully. And he'll be healed. We just know he will be healed. Well, those were pretty specific prayers and real specific faith. But for some reason, I didn't really pray that way. I prayed, "Dear Lord, whatever happens, you're in control. Just do what's best, but don't let my brother suffer." Well, he did die. Whose prayer was answered? Was there healing? Well, I'd like to share with you a song that I wrote, if you'll indulge me, and that I sang at his funeral. And I hope this will be perhaps the answer that I've been trying to present this evening. Does God answer prayer? Carry us away across an ocean sky, riding under angels' wings. Lift us up on high. Take us to our home, to mansions made in love, by arms are swift and strong. We're wondering and waiting. We know it won't be long before we reach that place where you have gone before. We shall see your face and live forevermore. Carry us away across an ocean sky, riding under angels' wings. Lift us up on high, take us to our home, to mansions made in love by your holy hands, Lord. Carry us above, carry us away across an ocean sky. Take us to our home, Lord, where we shall never die. So my question was, does God answer prayer? He healed the hurt from my dad. He helped a little girl named Daisy. And he did heal my brother in heaven. He answered my prayer.